Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. Brainstorming is often considered the first step toward developing a solution, whether at work or personally. But too often, brainstorming doesn't lead to anything that was worth the time. Maybe this will help. Because the text version of this is going to be in Psychology Today, let's take a psychology-related example. The person is suffering from generalized anxiety. He says, "I'm always so alert, afraid something bad's going to happen. I have to figure out what to do. I'm in a permanent state of anxiety." Well, standard brainstorming practice is to simply list what pops to mind, unstructured. But a structured approach is often more helpful. For our example, here are sample categories and entries in them. Note, by the way, how crisp they are. Usually brevity brings important things to the fore, while comprehensiveness tends to obfuscate, as well as taking more time. Okay, so the first category is causation of this person's anxiety. And looking at causation first, of course, can inform the development of tactics and assess the likelihood of their success. So the first possible causation is genetic. And the person writes, "I've always been anxious as long as I can remember. My earliest memory was of being scared, probably at age 3 when my mother said we're going to the doctor." Another possible cause is early parenting. And the entry is, "My parents weren't perfect, but pretty good. I don't think my anxiety was caused by the way my parents treated me." Next entry, early trauma. "I was never part of the in-group, and I totaled my car once, but that was about it. I don't think my anxiety was caused by early trauma." Next entry is recent trauma. "Yes, my wife divorced me, and the whole process certainly was traumatic. I sure was anxious in that courtroom, but my anxiety really predates that." The next category, we were talking about the causation, but now we turn to tactics. And the first category of tactics is cognitive self-help. So the first entry is, "Think about what I get out of worrying." Well, it keeps me from being bored. It prevents bad things from happening sometimes. The next entry in the cognitive self-help is to remind myself that my worrying is irrational. Yeah, I already do that, and it doesn't help much. The next entry, remind myself that my worrying is unhealthy. Yeah, I try that too, and it also doesn't help much. The next category of possible tactics for this person with generalized anxiety is behavioral self-help. Deep breaths when starting to feel stressed. Yeah, that's low risk, and it's worth doing more often. Another example of the behavioral things that he entered, distraction is something constructive or pleasurable. Yeah, I should redouble my efforts to do that. The next entry is exercise to de-adrenalize. No, I can't exercise often enough. That's not a solution. And the final category is professional help. And here is his first entry. Try at least one session with a cognitive behavioral therapist who has great Yelp reviews. Yeah, and if the self-help tactics above don't work, try that. Or at least if they don't work well enough. The next entry in the brainstorming around professional help is to try at least one session with a psychodynamic therapist who has great Yelp reviews. And his response to that is, if the cognitive behavioral therapist doesn't help enough. And the final listing under professional help is to see a psychiatrist to discuss a trial on some anti-anxiety medication. And then what he wrote was, that's the last resort. Finally, let's talk about action steps. Don't drag out the brainstorming. The best ideas usually come to mind quickly. If you feel your list is inadequate, run it by a trusted person. Then move to at least a low-risk action, and after a brief trial, reassess. That approach usually produces positive results, and quickly. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments, and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.